Hey there, guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion. Number 363, 1.1 is getting close, and I am joined by Bombug, as always.
Hello, hello. How you doing this fine weekend?
Doing okay. Glad it's
Managed to make it through the Friday the 13th, all the
it,
spooky stuff?
right. I was like, oh man, with everything going on, there's got to be something horrific that's going to happen. I mean,
Oh
there
man.
is a lot of bad stuff happening, but there didn't seem to be anything specific yesterday, which was nice.
Yeah, instead we're getting some pretty crazy good news here on this Friday Fact. Lots of
Yeah,
nice updates and bug fixes.
yeah, we have some super good news. This is a fairly long one, but I definitely encourage you guys to watch through it all or read the whole thing because there is every single thing mentioned here is absolutely awesome. So, uh,
Everything is awesome.
exactly. So the first bit of really good news is 1.1 is getting close. Actually, very close, as we'll see here shortly. Kovrek says, I've been keeping track, I've been tracking the number of tasks and form bugs required to finish 1.1 since the 1.0 release. This allowed me to get quantifiable feedback whether we are actually keeping the timeframe 1.1 release reasonable or digging too deep and expanding the scope too much. And we see a nice little graph here, forum bugs and dev tasks. Um, Pretty dang good. You can see all the way down, like basically as of like just now, there's almost none. It's I don't know what's this look like, maybe 10, 20.
Yeah, it's about to be done from nearly 300 plus a whole bunch of spikes in the middle there. It's a lot of tasks to do over, what's that, about 3 months there since
Yeah,
the release?
yeah, they have been for having said that they were going to take a break. They've been doing a lot of work. Uh,
Seriously.
this is fantastic, and because of that, he says if we extrapolate the graph, the 1.1 experimental should be ready next week. It's quite possible we will get the experimental version next week. It's not, they haven't guaranteed it, but it's quite possible. And again, keeping in mind this is experimental, which means that if you want to play 1.1, which I would suggest because it has some awesome stuff, you will need to opt into the experimental slash beta builds if you're on the Steam version or download the experimental thing from the website because it won't, since it's experimental, it won't automatically update to it if you're on Steam. So just keep that in mind.
I don't know about you, but I fully intend to play on the experimental because there's so much nice quality of life stuff, and graphically just looks like there's a lot of really cool things, especially in this one that we're gonna go over here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, same, dude. It's gonna be awesome. I'm definitely gonna play it. Uh, so first bit here is merchandise info. New merchandise. There's a 1.0 Rocket T-shirt and a Wooby bag. So we have this T-shirt here, which looks pretty awesome. Say to celebrate and commemorate the launch of 1.0, they want to produce a special limited edition T-shirt. For a few reasons, our supply is not ready in time for launch in August, but we are ready now. This looks pretty good. Maybe it's just the way it's pictured, but that rocket does not look centered. Is it
Uh,
just me or does it not look centered on the shirt?
I'm hoping it's just the angle.
Same.
Now that you said that, like I didn't really realize it before, but maybe it's not centered. I don't know.
I really hope it is, but it looks really cool. And then also they have a really neat like bag, like one of the what do you call it? These are like kind of like backpack things. I
Yeah,
see
it's like
kids wearing them.
convention bags is what I usually think of them as because you get lots of these as goodie bags at conventions.
Yeah, yeah, and this is really I really like their logo. And this just actually looks really neat on a bag like this.
Same. I would wear like a Wooby logoed hoodie or something. I'm
Yeah,
not super into like the circuit board ones that they've had, but just having the logo itself, kind of cool. I like it.
yeah, I like it a lot. This would be super awesome, like you said, on a hoodie or something or a hat even. Um, So this is awesome. Some new merch, guys. You can come check it out on their eShop. But like they said, if you want it to arrive before Christmas, I would really recommend ordering as soon as possible, especially since it is coming from across the world. Um, if you're in the U.S., that is, or Canada. So uh, pretty awesome stuff. Now, onto some even more awesome stuff related to the game, and I'm thinking, I don't know if you want to like switch off sections or if there were specific things you wanted to cover.
Honestly, all of these are pretty cool. I think switching off sections sounds good to me.
All right, then you want to start? You want me to start?
I'll start it off. So
All
this
right.
is Small Things by Coverex. There are lots of smaller changes in 1.1, and explaining all of them would just make this an extended changelog. So they're only going to talk about a few of the more significant topics, which means we're going to get some extra surprises in the patch notes, I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm.
So the entity GUIs, they have unified them. It's always player inventory on the left and entity on the right. The entity preview has a unified and enlarged size, and there's a status of the entity with an LED. So we can see here the what would you call it? The entity GUI for the inserter here. It's got
Mm-hmm.
a lot more space. It's got a what would you call that? The sort of in-game tutorial pieces that they were talking about before. It looks like we've got a little bit of that going on.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know, the entity was already showing its status on the tooltip, but it went basically unnoticed by everyone, and the proof is that there were many different bugs related to the status that no one ever reported. We believe that the status should help understand what is going on, mainly why the entity is stopped at the moment, which in Factorio is pretty much the only case that you really care about, right? So why is this not working?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, what do you think about this one?
I really like it. I like it a lot. I like the fact that it opens like your inventory at the same time, just nice, like all blended together like this. And yeah, it just looks really clean. It looks, it's very consistent. I'm no complaints with this at all.
Yeah, consistency is key. There's not always something super important to share, but having it be regular throughout the entire game is real important, in my opinion.
Yes, for sure. Now this next change may be controversial. Personally, I'm fine with it. I actually did not expect this at all, but I'm actually kind of a big fan of it. Is the character tab removal. So, and this is interesting. I really didn't expect this because the character tab is something quite new that they added. So I said when the tabs are being designed, the character tab looked like a good idea, but when you inspect it properly, it is just basically filler. The color selection can be done by just one small pop-up button as on other places. The guns and armor are already on the screen, so it's just a duplication, which is one thing I kind of found odd when they were implementing this tab. Is that part there. Batteries and shields are shown in the main GUI. Character options are configurable through the shortcut bar. So he says, I think that when you have the same thing in two different places, it is a problem. The player is required to make a mental link between these two places and realize that these are the same, so deduplication is a must. So the character tab was removed. This left us with just the crafting logistics tab, and based on my experience, the fact that the crafting tab, or sorry, the fact that the crafting has tabs in tabs feels very uncomfortable. Switching the crafting category with the tabs is something that we do very frequently. Having to focus on which kind of tabs you need to be pressed just breaks the flow. I always liked the flat GUI model that we had before, but I didn't want to reject the tabs just because it was something different. But now when I have the unpleasant experience of playing with the tabs, I can fairly discard them as the default option. Long story short, the flat style of the character GUI, which was already an option in 1.0, which actually I didn't know, is now the default. This is actually fantastic. So this is kind of back to like what we were. If you remember that this is kind of how things used to look like, where it was
Going
like,
back to your roots, that's not a bad thing.
yeah, it used to be, the craft, the carrot, like your inventory on the left, the logistics stuff in the middle, and then your crafting on the right. Um, and I'm a big fan of this because everything you need at one time. Right now, I constantly like hit the wrong stuff because, like he said, there, like, with how it was before, there's the crafting, character, and logistics tab. So I'll be like in like the crafting tab, and then instead of actually hitting like a crafting submenu like intermediates, I accidentally hit like character logistics because it's like another tab that I see, and I just like accidentally hit that, and then I have to go back and then click on another thing. It's really annoying. So having this back to how we used to, I am actually a huge fan of. I think this is really nice, less confusing, less clicks basically as well. So I'm a big fan of this. What do you think?
Let's see. I don't think it's a bad thing. Maybe it takes me just a little bit of getting used to. I'm generally fine with games having some duplication across things, right? If you look at Path of Exile or something, you'll see that the flasks and skills, for example, show up in multiple spots where you've got it on the main screen, just in your GUI at the bottom toolbar, but then you also have it in your inventory. And I'm okay with that. But I think that's because when you're in the inventory, it has like a little bit of extra detail. You can mouse over it and see some extra stuff. And in this menu, there's not really anything extra shown, like they said, right? It's got all the details and all the options for colors and weapons and ammo uh, down further on the toolbar at the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, should be good. I do agree with you that like I've tried to click between crafting and logistics and accidentally hit the character tab, and it's like I never open this tab anymore. So why is it here?
Right. Yeah, it's. I would agree. Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, it's not necessarily like super huge improvement, but I think overall it's just pretty awesome. I'm a fan of it. And one thing to take away from this as well is that like the fact that devs are willing to revert or undo a recent thing they did is really important. I feel like a lot of dev teams like add something, and then even though the player base doesn't like it, or even if it's just generally obvious that it's not working, they'll be like they like will refuse to remove it because it's like a brand new thing. Um, but I think
Yeah,
the
that's
devs
that's the
realizing
worst.
this is like really just a really another example of how awesome they are and how like good at what they do they are. Is they're just like, okay, well, this is something that's new and we put the effort towards, but we're realizing it's not actually the best option, so we're just gonna get rid of it.
Yep, excellent point. And it's super good to see too that the devs are actually playing the game and they're actually taking player input into account versus a lot of other games. How many times have you played something and you're just like, why did they add this into the game? This is
Right.
incredibly dumb. This is incredibly overpowered. This is incredibly boring or frustrating. Why'd you do this? You could literally just remove this and the game would be better.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see the devs actually taking things into account.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so the next section here is for the alert arrows. When you hover the alert icon, the game shows alert icons on the related on-screen positions, or if they are off-screen, it shows arrows on the edge of the screen that point you in the right direction. Now, this is an example that he just had to add because once he realized that the feature could be there, was almost trying to use it and was annoyed by the fact that it wasn't there. This is actually happening a lot and makes playing other games much more frustrating to me as I have no way to add the things I'm missing there. The longer I develop, the more this happens. I like this one quite a bit. I was a little bit worried when I saw the icons because they're not super pretty and
Yeah.
they're kind of like covering some elements. But when they said it only shows when you're hovering over the alerts at the bottom toolbar there, then I'm like, okay, this is pretty solid. I like it. What do you think?
Um. Yeah, I think this is really good. Wait, where does it say? Where does it say that it only shows when you hover over the alerts?
Very first set of words there when you hover the alert
Oh,
icon.
sorry. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I was of the exact same thought as you. When I see this, I'm like, these are really like ugly, super basic arrows. Like,
A little bit.
but like this is like super. This looks like something you just like threw together in like paint or something.
Yeah.
Um, but the fact that it does only show if you actually hover over the icon or the alert notification definitely is better. It'd be pretty bad in my opinion, and like you said, if it just like was always there when you were having an alert.
Oh man, our novice post collapse playthrough where
Oh
there were
god.
just like alerts going on all the time. I would not be able to stand it if I had these arrows also popping up. No, 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 no.
Yeah, this that would be a no-no. So this is kind of nice. I mean, it is nice to kind of see what direction it is. Usually when I see an alert, I just open the map and find it in there. But this is nice. So yeah, pretty cool. Something I didn't actually really expect at all, but um, certainly not too bad.
I think it really does follow along with what players are expecting from games. Whenever I have some sort of an alert in another game, I generally do expect some sort of directional indicator. So this does just hit the gamer feel for me, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Um, okay, so now on to some other interesting stuff. So rich text icon selector, and I feel like a lot of people they say this too. I feel like a lot of people just don't even know what this is because they have support for rich text stuff since 0.17, but we never did the last small piece of work to make it known and usable. I would guess only a small fraction of people actually knew that they can write things like item equals iron plate in text to put an icon there, as there's actually nothing in the game indicating this would be possible unless you were reading Friday Facts back in 2018 when they talked about it. And even if you do know about it, you need to know the internal item names to be able to use it. This is the reason I basically never used it because I just don't want to memorize all the item names and don't want to just constantly have to have a wiki page open when I'm playing to figure this out. Um, so what they did is awesome. This is what I was kind of hoping they would have done from the start, but this is fine. They're adding it now. Is they added this selector, so now you can just select the icon instead of having to actually like type out a code for it, which is fantastic. And I think this will allow it to be used way more. That way more, a lot more, and just it's a really nice feature. The rich text thing in general, and they've just kind of simplified it now, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, I think it's excellent. I definitely did notice that it was somewhat used. You would see occasionally streamers doing it. Maybe some people who were into the modding, they would know about it a little bit and they would use it. But otherwise, I would see on Reddit posts every couple months saying, "Did you guys know you can use rich text in your things to make bold and italic and
Right.
add in icons and stuff, right?" So that means it's uncommon enough that it needs PSAs, right?
Yes, for sure.
And I did use it a couple of times, but actually only with coal because I could never remember the names of the other items.
Yeah, exactly,
So,
right?
yep, I definitely agree that this is a nice change for them to do, though it does seem a little strange that it doesn't give you help with things like font color, obscure sprites, things like that. It's
Oh
like if
yeah.
they have it in the game, but they aren't 100% into supporting it, it gives me just mixed feelings, you know?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, kind of weird. Maybe in the future they'll do like what they did here and just add the support in. But yeah.
Sweet. Let's see. Next section is new recipe notifications. This is useful mainly for new players that don't have the position of the recipes burned into their brains, but I can imagine it being also helpful when playing with a new or big mod. The notifications are cleared by hovering, as expected, and they can be turned off completely in the options. Yeah, this seems just like another gamer feel thing for me, where I'm expecting this to be in place, and I definitely have had confusions when I was learning the game initially, unlocking some technologies and being like, "All right, I completed that research. What did it give me again? How do I hunt it down in the what do you call it? The technology tree, and then see what items it gives there? Because I don't really see it in the menu. Which menu did it drop it in? This is a helpful thing for newer players for sure."
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is going to be really nice. And again, even for more experienced players, if you're playing with mods, this will be fantastic. Uh,
Once again, though, kind of low quality icon.
oh, like the little exclamation mark thing, you mean?
Yeah, I just don't know if it exactly fits the Factorio styling.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
It's
I would
clear
kind of
though.
agree. Yeah, maybe they'll change it up in the future. Um, so this next section is super awesome. Uh, I've kind of hoped for something like this for a long time, uh, because I have a lot of problems with drawing straight lines. Apparently, uh, so belt building in a line. The main motivation to finally do this was the process of building entities directly from the Spidertron. It works quite okay as long as you don't need to build a straight line of belts. in which case it very often happens that the Spidertron's fuzzy, erratic movement patterns work against you. So from now on, the belt building by dragging will be locked to the direction of the belt. As always, it can be turned off by an option, as it doesn't allow the multi-lane spraying building strategy, and some people might find that more important. Uh, so, yeah, this is super nice because, one, most belt things you're going to want to build are probably straight, at least for the most part, unless you're insane and just want to build something that looks nuts. But yeah, so like for Spidertron, this helps a lot. Even honestly, without it, like for me, for some reason, I just have a really hard time like drawing a straight line in the game. So I'll have a hard time just drawing a full long straight line of a belt, even when I'm just standing still. Um, so this is just really, really helpful. Of course, you can turn it on and off as always. What do you think of this?
This is excellent. I struggle with this constantly. Frankly, I'm half the time I'm moving alongside my base, building out belts, and I'm either bumping into my own buildings on occasion and getting jostled to the side, or because it's like a slightly newer area, maybe I don't have it cleared, I run into a tree and that jostles me or stops me, and then getting everything back on path is just kind of annoying. I really, really like this. I was thinking about the option portion of it, kind of hoping there's just a key modifier that you can hold down to maybe stop it.
Yeah.
That would be a lot more convenient and usable than just turning on and off an option, because everybody does, in my opinion, build straight belts and spray belts. I think spraying belts and doing, 3 lanes of belts all going in one direction is super common too. So let us do it both with a key modifier. That's my suggestion.
I completely agree. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. So, devs, if you're listening, that would be great. Because, yeah, if it's second best option, in my opinion, if they are of the mindset that there's already too many hotkeys or something, is to have it just be a quick button, like on your toolbar, where you have the little extra buttons. Um,
For like
maybe,
exoskeleton and stuff.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. Now, if it's actually in like the settings menu, then that's just super inconvenient and just like, yeah, like you said, because most players like to do both. So if you have to like go into the actual settings menu and stuff to change it on and off, that's really, really inconvenient.
With that in mind, I would still use the option, even if that means I have to spray build one at a time.
Yeah,
The ability to have straight lanes all the time is really nice. So
yeah,
kudos to them for getting this done.
yeah, for sure. This is absolutely fantastic.
All
All
right,
right.
my section next, right?
Yes.
All right, blueprint selection in map. We added blueprint building in map for 1.0, which just means that now we need to be able to also select, deconstruct, and upgrade things from the map. Of course, I
Of
like it.
course. Yeah. So, yeah. What do you think?
This just follows that they added blueprint building, so they got to add the rest of it too. And I'm glad that they did, and I think that's going to be super useful. Make the game feel more consistent, and a lot of players play games different. The mega base builders, I feel like they just play things from the mini map anyway, or not the
Yeah.
mini map, from the just the map view. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is going to help them do that.
Yes, absolutely. So, this is fantastic. Really, really love this. This more quality of life stuff. Uh, Now, this is a really, really nice. This is a visual thing, which I never really thought of, to be honest. Like, I just didn't really notice it until now that they mention it. Uh, but the graphics in the game have had steady improvements over the course of development, with greater detail, better processes, and of course deeper experience. However, one part of the game that never quite felt right was the way the entities were lit up at night. We only really had the capability in our engine to draw some basic light sprites over the top of all entities. This means that the effect was more like a spotlight shining down rather than entity emitting light. However, with some recent technological additions from Posila, we have been able to set individual animations and specific sprite sheets of an entity to be drawn as a light source. What this means is that instead of an entity emitting light only as a circle around them, we can make their nighttime lighting much more precise and beautiful. And another one of these draggy things that we love. So this, if you drag it all the way to the right, this is what it currently looks like in the game. However, if you drag it all the way to the left, we get this new view, and man, dude, this looks so good.
Factorio has like such simple graphics, but this change is just to me like it's gorgeous. They just wow. The glow of the furnaces, it's real nice.
Yeah, this is just like this is so great. I love the fact because actually, if you look on the version we have now, if you look at things like the nuclear reactor, for example, or the centrifuges, the whole thing itself has like kind of a greenish tint on it. But then when you look at the new one, you realize like how like bad it was before because like on the new
Mhm.
one now only the parts that are actually like that would actually emit light are emitting light instead of the whole thing just being like green.
Yeah, this is an awesome change. Definitely. I noticed it before where I'm like, this lighting is kind of weird. Like, why is my whole boiler got light around it? What's going on here? But I didn't really think about it too much because, it's Factorio. It's not known for beautiful graphics or anything. But
Right.
seeing this change, it's like, dude, the nighttime atmosphere is going to get so much cooler now.
Yes, this is like I think I will you know dislike playing at night much less than I do now. So absolutely fantastic. Something again that I didn't really like think of needing a change necessarily. But now that we have it, kind of like the train tracks. Like looking back at old train tracks, I was
Yep.
like, how the hell did I even play with these? And it's gonna be the same with this. Um, Absolutely fantastic work. And so they say, thankfully, we already had quite a lot of light mass rendered out for entities already, such as the centrifuge green glow, so it didn't require anything other than Lua changes to make it work. Some of the entities needed new light mass, such as the car and locomotive, which Renesas was able to render out the original models without too much trouble. I think now you will almost be wishing that the night lasts longer, just so you can enjoy the warm, cozy glow of your furnaces for a few minutes more. Yeah, it definitely makes it much more pleasant um, to play at night, for sure.
I'm definitely liking it.
Yeah.
All right, this next section, Technology Effect Icons by V and Albert. For a long time, Factorio has had technologies which gives the player abstract bonuses like bonus damage. The problem is all of them are shown as a red plus symbol, and there's no way to tell which one is which other than hovering them and reading their tooltip, which is the first screenshot available here.
Mhm.
And honestly, the first time I played, I was kind of weirded out by it. I'm like, this is a little weird. Do you want to just say, plus 30% bonus damage,
Yeah,
maybe? Yeah.
exactly.
So to make it clear what a technology does, they've created a set of icons we call constants, representing the type of effect, and they get combined with the icons of the item that they influence. For researches like damage bonuses, the item icon is automatically inherited from the most basic item. This means if a mod adds an ammo category with its own ammo, the effect icons on a technology influencing this modded ammo will show its icon correctly. So we get a little sniper scope here with our yellow ammo. And as you can see below, the constants also draw on the technology icon itself. Better yet, when you hover over the effect, it not only tells you the name of the effect and the amount of improvements it provides, but also lists a full list of all items and entities it affects. That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
I really like it. I think it looks great. The only other thing, kind of like what you said initially, uh, I kind of wish it would just tell the damage just like straight up without you having to hover over it, like the bonus. Um,
Yeah,
like
that
if
would be nice.
it just said like plus 10% on each of these or whatever, because you can get it, you'll be like, oh, this is an upgrade, but I have no idea how much it upgrades until you like mouse over each one. Um, that would be my only complaint. Otherwise, I think this is great.
Yeah, and I honestly I had no idea that the bullet damage affected the defender capsules. I didn't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it
yeah.
wasn't super obvious.
There's a finite number of effects that can be enabled by mods, and they have added some visual representations to every one of them. Some are more ridiculous than others, but some are also very rarely used even by the wildest mods. Now, this is an interesting array of icons here. Once again, I'm not exactly feeling the Factorio feel for a lot of these icons, like the shooting speed increase one there, kind of middle right of the first row. I can tell that that's like an accelerometer or something, but I can't tell it super well other than I know, hey, what are the two mods? You're going to see damage and you're going to see shooting speed or reload speed or whatever, right?
Right.
So that was my guess, but like I'm not quite getting all of these. What do you think?
Um, yeah, I would agree. Another one that's super confusing, that I actually still don't even understand, is on the second row, first thing, the ghost with the health, with the heart.
Yeah,
I actually have no idea what that is. Is that just ghost icon, like ghost building?
I mean it's a heart with a clock, so I think it has to do something with
Like the
time.
length of ghosts? The I think the like length, the time that ghost things last, but I thought they lasted forever.
I mean maybe that's a mod thing,
Yeah.
right? That's very rarely used even by the wildest mods. So that could be the case there. But I mean, we also have like the bottom rightmost icon is the ghost with the speed icon, and it's like, wait, do ghosts have speed? Is that different from time? What's going on there?
Yeah, I agree. That's actually a good point. Like, how does that work? Like, ghosts replace instantly. I don't I don't understand what this would do. Yeah, it's a little deceiving. I mean, again, these are probably some that are just like basically never used, but um, still kind of confusing.
Yeah. Overall, though, I do like the idea of having the base icon be what's shown for the upgrades, and to have that mouse over to see what it affects. I think that's an excellent change, and will clear up a lot of confusion and weirdness, especially with larger mods where they add a whole bunch of technologies. Now they're able to deliver their information much better, whereas the base game maybe already like you kind of know what's going on.
Yes,
Mod, you don't. You're going into wild territory.
exactly. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Uh, and I think this is the last section, technology icons by V. We were planning to revisit all technology icons for a while now, but we always only had time to fix the most obvious problems. As a result, the technology icons were worked on in batches over time, and a lot of them look inconsistent or obsolete. The technology effect icons and their constants demand some technology icons to change, as some of the iconography they use is no longer fitting, so we will take the opportunity to revisit all of the technology icons. So we see one here, looks like maybe personal laser defense or something, or lasers. The first version of 1.1.x will only have a few icons updated, but even the older ones will be given color adjustments similar to what happened to the game sprites in 0.18 for FX 320, and bitmaps, which will break mods. Great. um, During 1.1 stabilization, we will only be updating the images sprites, which won't break anything. So that's really good to hear. I'm happy about new tech icons, although I feel like they just did like reworks of a lot of icons. Maybe they just want to like do all of them at once though, so that they're all consistent. I don't know.
Yeah, they've always been going in cycles where they update a set of icons in this menu and then a set of icons in that menu, and there are so many icons all over this game. So this is just hitting another spot, I guess.
Yes.
Good to keep up.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
spring cleaning. You always got to do it.
Yeah. So super good. I'll be interested to see what they come up with for the new icons for sure.
Yeah. And then speaking of the breaking things, there's a section here by Clonin. With the march of progress and ongoing development, there comes a point in time where we have to cut support for older save games. 1.1 seems like a good time to do that once again, so they're dropping support for save games from version 0.16 and 0.17. If you want to preserve those save games, you will need to load them in 1.0, which can load version 0.16 and 17 save games and resave them. We are also taking the opportunity to remove some old clutter from the codebase, things like old campaign plane and computer items, unused old wreckage entities, and so on. This will likely not impact the typical player, but will break some scenarios and mods that were using these things. When they were looking at the new technology icons, they also realized they have some inconsistent names. For example, they have Combat Robotics 1, 2, and 3, but each only unlocks a single item. So in this case, they've renamed them to Defender, Distractor, and Destroyer, and the icon will reflect the more specific naming of the research. They also did some minor grammatical tweaks, such as unifying all the technology names to be singular. And furthermore, there are a lot of small changes to the game data and Lua API that can cause mods to break. If you are interested or concerned, Bilka has compiled a list of changes on the forums, as they always do. All these small tweaks and renames have the possibility to break some mods that were referencing them, and it is just the nature of the way the game works. We hope, though, that 1.1 will be otherwise smooth for modders, as they don't plan to introduce much content during the experimental period. All right. A lot of mod changes. I mean, it is a, what would you call it? A minor, but not a minor version upgrade. So there's definitely going to be some breaking changes there. Or wait, would you call 1.1 a major or a minor release?
I would definitely call it a, well, it's kind of odd because like the numbering is kind of a minor release, but the actual stuff it's bringing is definitely worthy of a major release.
I
You
guess
know?
since it's break major, right?
Yeah. So I would say it's a major release. I mean, 1.1 so far has a lot more stuff than 1.0 did.
Whew, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Just think
So
about all the stuff in the last post as well, and we're getting all of this in experimental hopefully next week. Oh, I'm excited.
I'm excited too. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be another like hour and a half change log update video that I have to make, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. It's just there's a lot of stuff. So uh, I did want to touch on. I'm really happy about the change with them making things a bit more clear, like in regards to the combat robotics research, because that was like kind of vague and stuff. So I'm really glad that they actually named it to what it actually unlocks.
Yeah, that was super vague, and I feel like a lot of players just don't really use the capsules to begin with that much. So hopefully this will give them a more clear feeling of, ooh, I unlocked the destroyer capsule. I'm gonna go make that and use it, rather than just I unlock some generic robot thing and not paying too much attention because I just have laser turrets going anyway.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, this is awesome. I'm super happy with basically everything listed here. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty cool. Maybe get us some Wooby logo hoodies. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
take a look at the heat transfer pipes. I wanna see the glow a little bit better at night. It seems like the glow dimmed out a lot here with this new change, but they may pick up on that and have it updated, by the time it's actually released for us. So I'm curious to see what it looks like. I am actually excited to play at nighttime because this stuff looks pretty freaking cool, and we only got a little glance at a bunch of technologies here, but not everything, right? I want to see what it's all looking like.
Yes, for sure. I completely agree. I'm super excited. Uh, and yeah, I'm really, really excited for this. I think it'll be awesome. One thing I actually just now noticed that you mentioned the nighttime thing again is the train headlights, like the train lights. Um, Previous to this update, they actually didn't turn on at all, apparently.
Oh, what? You're right.
So
Uh,
that's actually because I was noticing, I'm like, oh, those lights look really good. What did they look like before? Oh, they weren't even on.
I mean, if it's all automatic, does it need lights? It's just going on a track anyway.
I mean,
Does
you're
a
right.
robot need eyes?
No, it doesn't. But I think it's really nice. Just another immersion thing. Just continuity looks really good. So just something funny to point out. I didn't realize that they were actually not even working before. But yeah, I'm excited for all this. I'm really, really looking forward to 1.1. And as always, they're just doing a fantastic job, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for my the assembler redesign in the
Gotta bring
experimental.
it up.
Hey,
Every time.
I'm not. I didn't go on any rant. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. It happens in there somewhere. It doesn't even have to be the initial release.
My mama
This,
says if you keep crossing your fingers, they're gonna get stuck like that.
yeah. I am more than satisfied with everything we have here. This is absolutely awesome. Uh, and yeah, I think that's gonna do it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts below. Always enjoy reading those, and of course on the forums and on Reddit for the devs. And you can subscribe to the blog by email. And also, if your mod is, definitely check out the list of changes so you are prepared for anything that may break in your mods. And yeah, until next time, we will see you later.
Catch you later.